Hey guys, and welcome to Manchester Lane Radio, the podcast of Shaw, Melbourne. I am your host, Steele Saunders, and on this podcast we'll be chatting to those that inspire our store. And on our very first episode, we chat to Sri Lankan-born, Melbourne-based comedian Dilruk Jayasinha, who normally can be seen at stand-up rooms all over Melbourne, as well as on Have You Been Paying Attention? And this year, I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. This pilot episode was recorded earlier this year before the virus, so enjoy some fun banter from simpler times. This podcast is available in both audio form and visually enhanced on YouTube. Links are in the episode details. Episode number 1. Hope you enjoy it. Hey you guys, welcome to the show. I'm Steele Saunders and it's our very first episode. It's very exciting. We've already done a couple of episodes, recorded them, banked them, as they say in the industry. But our first going live episode is with our old buddy in the heart of Melbourne CBD. It's Dilruk Jayasinha. How you doing, mate?
Very good, Steele Saunders. Thank you. I didn't realize I was the first. That is like absolute honor / pressure as well, because the first one's the is a really important one. So now to know that this is the first time your audience gets to hear this podcast, and I'm the representative of that first pod, is a lot of pressure for me. So I'm gonna try my best to not stuff it up. To be honest, I feel like I've already stuffed it up.
I like that you're a representative. I don't know. It could be an honor, or it could be
frontline, like get rid of the first wave of battalions. Like this is, Yeah,
you're just a pawn in my new media game.
I get it. Because wait,
like if the first one's killer, everyone's like, oh wow, first one, so good. How are they going to keep this up? Right. But
if it's bad, you're like, it was the first one.
Yeah, exactly. It's the first one.
Right.
It's the first one.
Okay, pressure's off. We can't lose.
Hey, so it's so weird in and out of Australia, and when I'm out of Australia, what's going on in Australian pop culture, I'm sort of just limited to seeing what's on Instagram and stuff like that. And I listen to a couple of podcasts, but I'm not like talking to people all the time, hearing the word on the street, as it were. And, like we started doing stand-up comedy together in Melbourne and, go on a lot of podcasts. And quite often when you go on a podcast, people, they'll Photoshop you or something in a scenario that you talked about on the podcast. And I'm on Instagram and I see your head on the Celebrity Get Me Out of Here, like, poster. And I'm like, oh, what podcast is this from? What wacky tale did he say about going on that? How did that work out for you, buddy?
It was it sounds like a pun, but it's not meant to be a pun. It was wild. I loved it. I ended up actually going into the South African jungle for that show. I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. And man, honestly, I wish I had war stories like, oh my God, it broke me and all that, but I had a great time, because for me it was like I told myself before I went in, like the win was being invited to do it. Like I thought that was pretty cool in itself. So anything from there was just going to be a bonus thing.
Well, television's told you you're a celebrity.
Well, that was the interesting thing.
It's
right?
like an award.
Right. So
you're
like
official.
Up until then. Yes, exactly. You're right. Because up until then, you're like, you do a couple of telly spots, you do a few appearances on radio shows, and someone might refer to you as a celebrity, and you feel really uncomfortable. You're like, no, look, I don't know if that's quite right. But then when you do a show that has the word celebrity in it, and they refuse to call us contestants, they're like, that's not what you guys like. That's like a title that they only refer to us as celebrities. And it was so uncomfortable, Steele, because because it's quite a balance for me between like trying to not get my ego inflated versus versus trying to like be humble. Like it's such a high wire act between the egocentricness of like doing stand up comedy where you have to be egotistical to go up on stage and say, I'm so funny, you guys have to listen to me. So there's that element of me that's in there. And so of course when they start referring to me as celebrity, I'm like, ooh, I'm a celebrity. This is not. and then you like quickly go in there with my 11,000 followers and I'm talking to someone who has like 7 million followers and I'm like, oh, I'm not a celebrity. Should I even be here? That's why I jokingly thought like the show should be called Am I a Celebrity? Should I even be here?
When you're meeting everyone in the camp, did you keep replying in conversations that like, oh, well, in my experience on the Australian comedy scene, for which I am well known for, I like to have strawberries.
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's like, I would say there was 12 of us who went in first. And I swear, I think it was only 3 people who knew who I was. So, which again, thank God, man, the amount of therapy that I chucked in before I left. So in December, I went in there on like Jan 2nd. And I think December I had like 8 therapy sessions. So that's 8 hours of therapy before I went in. And one of the things I prepped myself for was not to panic if no one knows who you are in there. It's fine. But like seriously, there was only 3 people who knew who I was. The rest
who are the golden 3?
So Miff Warhurst, who people know from Spicks and Specs, she and I had done like Josh Earl's podcast together. I think I was. Actually, we started opposite each other when I was filling in for ABC Radio, and she was doing the 12 to 2 o'clock show, and I was doing the 2 to 4 o'clock show. So we got to know each other a bit there. The other 2 was this guy from Married at First Sight called Ryan, who started doing stand-up comedy himself about 3 years ago, and he'd known of me. And then there was Nikki Osborne, who is an actress turned comedian.
This guy, what's his name, Ryan or Brian?
Ryan Gallagher.
I was going to say, you didn't even mention his surname. Like, is he like Cher? Is he that big?
Yeah. Well, again, in there, they just refer to, like, there's a hashtag, Steele. It's hashtag celeb Dilruk or hashtag celeb Ryan. Like, they're very much all about that hashtag. So yeah, you just only refer to each other in that first name. You don't really think about the full name at that point.
So were you in there like, you had a lot of free time. Were you like trying to rank where you were in the celebrity? Like there's 12 people. Did you put together a ladder of like most celebrity?
Mate, yes, the ladder was happening subconsciously, but very consciously, I knew I was on the bottom of the ladder, no doubt. So I was very aware of how small my profile was when once I met everyone, because we're literally like having like chats with like Rhonda Birchmore, who's been on like Aussie television for like 40 years.
Does she break into song often?
Not often enough. Okay. I feel like, because this is the sort of Stockholm syndrome that happens on camp, because it's 24 hours of footage, right? And there's about 6 hours of sleep. So the rest of the time, it's 18 hours that you have to try and, fill your day with. And there's no phone, there's no books, there's no escape other than whatever the fun you make of your own. So we were like having to make cricket balls out of the bandages from the medic kit. Then we got told off for that because it's meant to be only used for medical reasons, not for cricket balls. So things like that, you start to go absolutely bonkers.
I would love if you just constantly kept hurting yourself playing cricket with the ball you made and you had no way to heal yourself. It's like such a Simpsons thing to happen.
Right. It's just, the irony to get hurt by the very thing that you're trying to destroy. And we found so almost like having someone being able to sing was a nice escape. So it was so good when someone did sing, like someone like Rhonda Birchmore who can sing and hold a tune. The problem was Channel 10 can't afford the rights to a lot of those songs, so they basically stop us from singing. So this one treat where people can escape and sing along, they had to stop it because, apparently you can only sing stuff that's over 100 years old. And who knows the lyrics to any of those? So we really struggled.
You can just sing Happy Birthday all the time.
No, Happy Birthday is copywritten. Someone owns the rights to that.
No way.
Watch certain movies, right? Like low budget Fox Searchlight films. If there's a birthday scene, there's usually they'll cut almost after the cake's been cut or before the candles. Like they never really have them singing the song because it costs a lot of money to use the song.
Yeah, but also, like, who, when they find out about, like, cut scenes in a film, it's like, oh, I wish they left the singing of the happy birthday. That would have made it.
The authenticity. I don't believe this is real at all. This is a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
been
you
there,
really
done that.
You get sucked out of the narrative because they didn't sing happy birthday well.
Why don't they get you to sing, like, the Might Attend theme song and stuff like that?
I wonder if I wonder if that's copywritten as well.
No, but, like, they could pay. Like, they could pay to have, like, you can... Hey,
so Macca's was a sponsor. For example, McDonald's was a sponsor.
Yeah, two
So
beef
maybe
patties.
if we went da-da-da-da-da. Right. Maybe, yeah. I was trying to get a Macca's sponsorship. I was doing, like, through the camera, I was trying to go like, oh, I love Macca's. Basically.
Really?
Well, more of just being silly, but at the same time, dude, I would love to be the face of McDonald's. KFC is my number one, but McDonald's was a sponsor. I'm like, guys, if you need, a little bit of, what's the word? If you want to reach a diverse audience, I'm your guy.
I'd like to reach a diverse amount of your menu. Hey, I'm a bit partial to the KFC as well. But get this, right? You don't know how good you've got it. In America, KFC doesn't have fries.
What?
It's got like these barren wedges, sort of these dry wedges.
Wait, like chicken salt chips is one of the best things about KFC.
Look how your mood has dropped.
It's really bummed me out. I feel like you've just told me. Like, there's a lot of people in America, Steele, that I feel bad. Like, America has a lot of issues as it is. Surely. Chips, chicken salt chips. You're kidding, right?
I try to educate over here, and I'm just like, you guys don't understand. KFC's got the best chip on the market in Australia. Like
I would agree with that. I actually, in the fast food chip industry, I would say KFC is got to be the front runner, and then maybe Schnitz. If you're in if you know who Schnitz, they have like this sort of swirly curly type. Oh man, this is really bumming me out. Here's the thing:
Schnitz does have good ones. I remember. Yeah.
In Sri Lanka, you can actually get a KFC delivered to your house, so that if you just to reduce that extra bit of calories that you might burn going to the store, you can get KFC delivered. But it is their company policy not to deliver chips. And I had a 5-minute. I had a 5-minute argument with the person taking my delivery, to the point where I got her to put on her manager, because I wanted to speak to the manager. Because I was like, just take that bag of chips and chuck it in there. They're like, well, no, sir, because the quality of the chips won't be up to our standard by the time it reaches you. I'm like, I don't care. And I started lying still. This is how desperate I was for this chips. I said, I have a child who's 4 years old and is missing his mum and just wants chips. Can you please throw in a large bag of chips in there?
What's his name, Dale?
I didn't give a name, but I should have thought of something. Let's go with Sarat. That's a good classic Sri Lankan name, named Sarat. And I should have gone with that. But no, I was just trying to get some chips in me. But they refused to deliver chips. They delivered a bucket of chicken. They deliver Coca-Cola. They'll deliver potato and gravy, but they won't deliver chips. And I was so annoyed. I was like, I won't sue you. I don't care. Just put a bag of chips in there, please.
But read the room. Like, they're awesome cold.
Like, yeah, well, exactly. Like the when it goes soft and soggy, that's another whole adventure in itself.
Yeah, it's like a different season. It's the varieties of spice.
One of the best things about car rides and stuff, and you and I have done a road trip from Canberra to Sydney once. I remember one of the highlights was having the chips in the front, and you just snack on the chips as you're driving. It's a glorious moment in life.
Yeah, well, it's enjoy it. Enjoy the freedoms that the country gives you. So, in the celebrity ladder,
yes,
Dill, who won? Who was top dog?
Who was top? It had, in terms of online following, it'll have to be Charlotte Crosby, who is from Geordie Shore, and so which is like obviously the British version of Jersey Shore, and so she has been pretty much living in reality TV world for the last 10 years. And she's got like 7 million followers. And the coolest thing about the jungle is that you can't escape each other. You're so pretty much you're in the one camp area
Yeah,
for
that,
12.
that does sound cool.
Well, let me explain. Let me say well, the coolest thing about it is, so because you'd have all these preconceived notions about people before you go in, maybe that it immediately is broken down because you're forced to interact with people just as human beings. And I think Charlotte had probably never met anyone like me who didn't know who she was and couldn't subsequently Google her. Like, you know what I mean? It had been a while, I guess, that she'd met someone like that. And it meant that and she had no clue who the fuck I was. Sorry, I shouldn't swear. I didn't have any clue who I was. And it meant that we had to connect as like literally as human beings because it didn't matter how many followers she had or how small my career is. So it meant that we just connected and we actually became really good buds in there, like genuinely good pals because there's no pretense. You just end up having to chat as one on one. And then later on, after like we really got close, I was like, so Charlotte, I'm like, you're rich, aren't you? She goes, yeah. I'm like, I'm like, okay, how rich? Let me get an assessment. I'm like, what car do you drive? She's like, a Bentley. I'm like, fuck.
Wow.
Yeah, she's so like genuinely like she's just an open book. She's just like genuinely telling me about how excited she was when she was able to, buy her nana house. And so that the nan doesn't have to ever worry about where she needs to live. And it was just a really cool kind of way to chat to someone because she's known for being this outrageous party girl, right? And which she is. She's no denying it. But it's also nice to hear about her being able to transfer that into like an entrepreneurship where basically she has all these other businesses off the back of her brand as an influencer or whatever, that she's just launched a whole bunch of, I think it's like, beauty products. I think there's like cookbooks and exercise books. And she herself is just a massive pisshead, and she loves that she was able to build a career so huge purely based on being herself. So it was really nice to kind of chat to someone like that because for her there's nothing left to shame her about. Like she's done all kinds of stupid stuff on that Jodie Shore TV show. That she's like, oh, there's nothing that people can strip away from me now. This is just me all the time. And it's so cool to chat to someone like that. So she was the biggest on the ladder for sure.
It's interesting how you're saying, you couldn't find out who each other were. You sort of like that celebrity thing, like you sort of meant nothing to each other. I was in this bar one night in Melbourne and Guy Sebastian was in there.
Right.
From Australian Idol. And it was pretty height of Guy Sebastian fever. And then pro skater Eric Costin was in there. And that's why I was there.
Oh, right.
And like, so everyone in the bar knew one of them was famous. And some of them crossed over, obviously. But they didn't know each other was famous. It was just a weird, like it's these weird Venn diagrams of like.
Yes, yeah.
Like in my world, you're nothing. Well, yes. In my world, you're not. Well, they didn't have a celebrity off, I can tell you that much.
Right. But you might have been the only person who knew both of them.
Oh no, lots of people knew both.
Right. Okay, it's just for them each other, yeah.
A lot of sippy skateboarders in there.
Yeah. And so I guess like she was definitely top, and then I would say maybe like Rhonda Birchmore was probably more
your traditional
known in the public eye. Yeah, and then there was a guy called Miguel who's like a chef, celebrity chef, I guess, and who is probably the best dude I've ever met, best human being I've ever met. Like, I was genuinely waiting for one day for him to crack and show a bit of like weakness or show a bit of, getting angry. But he's like kind 24/7. I was there for 14 days. Not once did he show anything but kindness and compassion. And I was like, what are you made of? Like, don't you sometimes feel like you want someone to be a little bit like bad so that the world makes sense again? Like there can't be someone who is always kind. It doesn't add up in my head. But this dude was completely so genuine and good-hearted all the time that it kind of made me start hating myself.
He does sound very annoying.
No, I know, man. I know, Steele. Like, we all have moments where we get grumpy and we snap at someone, maybe. Nah, he never did. He was, like, starving. He was, like, missing his wife and 2 kids and all of that, but yet he always was just really positive and would take time to chat to everyone one by one. It was just unbelievable. So yeah, it was really sort of an awakening for me to go, maybe there's never an excuse to not get angry. Like maybe someone can actually be always positive all the time. It was amazing. He was starving. He's just like he's shredding. Like, and that's the other thing you see people losing weight in front of you. Like it's you start to rapidly drop off the weight while you're in there. Not so much me though, because for me, I ended up a lot of eating other people's food because they couldn't stomach the oats and because you only get like rice, beans, and kale. That's your like staple, and a lot of the campmates were struggling to stomach that after about 3 days. And I was like, I don't care, just give it to me. So I ended up eating other people's meals.
What about like when Warnie was on? Apparently, he got to have ciggies.
Yes.
Was there anyone? Anyone getting some special treatment?
No. I wish.
What would be your thing?
Scandal.
What would be your? Because I think it's rad, right? That Warnie, the cricket player, the ex-cricket player, he had the pull to ask for anything he wanted, right?
Yes.
And he's like, it's got to be ciggies. Like how good? How it makes me think, how good must ciggies be? Should I get into ciggies? If this dude loves them this much.
That's such the wrong way to look at it going, oh, it must be great, as opposed to going, wow, it must be pretty addictive. Like you look at an ice addict and go, wow, they've really sacrificed their entire life to try and get ice. Ice must be awesome.
Well, John, you watch like Breaking Bad or whatever, and you're like, yeah, they look like they're in between, when their lives are at mind-melting lows. Those highs seem okay.
Yeah. I just just for that brief moment, life is good again. No one in this particular year had any special treatment other than there was one contestant who I think might have been Nikki Osborne, because of her skin condition, had to have a particular tinted moisturizer. And so because of that, we all then had access to, so hers was a medical reason that she needed to have that. And so because of that, we were all granted the option to get tinted moisturizer. That's literally the only special treatment we got. And if I could choose something that I could get, if I had the clout to say I need something, it'd be coffee, Steele. I reckon I'd need 1 cup of coffee a day. Just a short black, even just one of that. I would love that.
Hey, they should have done, I'm with you on the coffee. I was trying to think of what mine would be, and it's like, coffee.
Coffee or the phone, man. You don't understand like how difficult it is to live your life through your phone for multiple reasons, and then it be taken away from you, and you have no idea. Like you go mad. And again, as a stand-up, you'd understand this still. The good thing about being stand-up is you get to be in control of your content that's going out, and then also you feed off the feedback that based on how it's received by the audience. You get that instant feedback. Whereas in this, not only do you not know what of you is being broadcast, you also don't know whether people like it or not, and there's nothing you can do other than go absolutely insane while you're in there.
It's like you're doing like a festival show for the first time every night.
Yeah, right. Festival show and a new material every night. That's one thing. And also you just don't know how the audience is reacting. It is haunting.
Hey, did you talked about before about your balancing your ego out and stuff? Have you, now that you're out, have you gone back and watched your episodes?
I did. Not all of it. I just, of course. Still, who are you talking to? I'm the guy that bought the only reason I bought a TV was the first time I did that show, Have You Been Paying Attention? And I was like, I want to watch this, but not on my laptop. I want to see myself in big screen.
Oh my God. You're like, you, I don't know if you know this saying, but this is a remix of it. It's like, I've appeared on more TV shows than I've watched.
No. What I mean is, don't get me wrong. I love TV. I watch television. I watch a lot of it on like my laptop and my phone or whatever it is. When I'm flying, I download a lot of Netflix on the phone. But I thought my first big telly thing, I should watch myself proper, And I was actually at a movie with Tommy Dassolo, our friend Tommy Dassolo, and I left the movie early just because the program was starting. And I was
Oh,
like,
did you whisper in his ear like, I'm going home to watch myself?
I think I did. I think I gave him the heads up. I was like, man, I'm sorry to do this, but like, you only get your first, the first time once, right?
Why'd
So
you go to the cinema? Did you not balance it out?
well, I thought the timing was going to be all right. So say something like a 6:30 show. The TV show starts at 8:30. The film was your mate Ricky Gervais's film about what's it called? The one when he reprised David Brent. I forget, the Life on the Road or something like that.
He made that into a film?
Yeah, he made David Brent into a film.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Dazzle and I went for that. We went for like a premiere of it. So what happened is there was a little bit of a hoo-ha at the start. A lot of someone from the publicity team saying, "Oh, this is, we're really happy with this film, and we want you guys to tweet about it as much as." So it kind of dragged out for longer than
free popcorn though.
Free popcorn. No toys, unfortunately. Usually, when I've done like Wonder Woman or something like that, you get those free little pop figures and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's what I live. That's literally when you want to talk about my ego. Is I left a movie to go and watch myself on a TV that I bought like 3 hours before that.
See, this is where we're different, Dill.
Mm.
I would do that, but not tell anyone.
There's some good, that probably is good advice, but I'm just sort of, you know what, I'm just tired of pretending like, not that I don't love what I do. I'm like, man, fuck it, I don't know how long this is going to last, right? So I just want to try and enjoy it while it's there.
But you've also, I feel like you discovered, if I tell people the worst things I've done,
yeah,
things work out pretty okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, people just need to find an episode of your podcast, I Love Green Guide Letters, that I did with the guys from Dollop, Dave Anthony and Gareth Reynolds, to find a real moment in my life where something that, when it happened, the story that I tell in that podcast, when it happened, I wish no one else ever found out about it. And then when I told it on the podcast, and the reaction that I got from your audience that day made me pretty much change me as a stand-up comedian. Because I went, maybe there is a bit of joy in sharing your pain and not really hiding your embarrassing moments. And it was Dave Anthony who said, "Have you ever told that story on stage?" And I was like, no, because I just thought it was too, it's too inappropriate or too uncomfortable. But he's like, "You're an idiot." And so then I started telling the story on stage, and yeah, it pretty much shaped my career a bit since then.
A story called The Shirt Nappy.
Yeah, well, I think, if you just hear shirt nappy, I'm sure most people can imagine what it's about.
How did you go from shirt nappy to Logie Award? What did you win? Most promising nappy.
Most inventive use of a long sleeve T-shirt.
Worst use of a shirt.
And anyone will be glad to know that shirt has since been disposed of, because that was another thing that your listeners were hounding me about, going, "Get rid of the shirt." And I was like, no, it was too expensive. I'm not getting rid of it.
This podcast is brought to you by The Shore Store, 11 Manchester Lane, Melbourne, or theshorestore.com. Shore is the home of Melbourne's good stuff, with brands like Nike, Stussy, New Balance, Vans, Buttergoods, and our very own Shore brand. Until the end of July, as a podcast launching special, you can use code DILRUK, DILRUK, to get half price off your second item in any order. Buy one item, get the second half off. Also includes free shipping Australia-wide on orders over $100. So check out the shop at theshorestore.com. Follow us on social media at The Shore Store. And don't forget to check out with code DILRUK. Hope you're enjoying the show. Let's get back to it. Hey, so when you lived in Sri Lanka,
Yes, sir.
what clothing did you like? What were the cool brands in Sri Lanka? Like when you were a
Cool
teenager?
brands. Man, you're talking to the wrong person because I used to get a lot of, because I had an older brother, I think there was a bit of hand-me-down action happening. But also because I was a bigger boy, like I was quite obese as a child, that I kind of didn't really get to enjoy um, like branded stuff because didn't really come in my size. So there was like there's a shop called, I think it's called Double XL or Double XL World or something like that that I could shop at because I couldn't find clothes that
It's
fitted me otherwise.
It sounds like a hip hop magazine.
Yeah. There is actually a hip hop magazine, isn't it? Double XL. Yeah. You're right. No, it was that, and there's a big sort of store called House of Fashion, which is basically, if I'm
Bold
not
claim.
mistaken, say again,
I said a bold claim.
bold claim, but because a lot of really good clothing brands are made in Sri Lanka because we have a huge textile industry, right? And so what happens is they have such high standards for where the button needs to be or whatever. Even if it's slightly off by a centimeter, they put this in a rejection pile.
Mm-hmm.
And so then there are people who basically resell that rejection pile for like a quarter of the price or something like that. And I think House of Fashion got their start by doing that. So you could get like a, Ralph Lauren polo shirt that might have, a collar might be slightly too long or something like that, which is not noticeable to the naked eye, to the layman's eye. And so you're basically getting high quality, basically imitation stuff, but it really is almost the real thing. So in terms of brands, I think we had a lot of. Do you remember there was a brand called Fila, Fila?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I think Fila was one of the ones that if you were in high school, you were rocking that. It looked a bit, you're a bit cool.
That still pops up. It's still they're still fillering around the world.
Right.
They're doing their thing. The big F.
Yeah, and then I remember when I went to so I used to go to a Catholic school, all boys, like public school, and then I got a scholarship to go to a private school. And in the private school, you were hanging out with more of the rich kids, and that's where you started to find out about clothing, actual clothing brands and stuff like that. So one of my mates was very much into basketball shoes, and he somehow convinced me to save my pocket money and buy my first pair of Nike basketball shoes. And man, I gotta be honest with you, I loved the crap out of it. It was so good because it didn't suit me because you in the sense that ankles above, it was just such a nerd with the crisp iron shirt and a trouser, but then at the bottom were these basketball shoes.
What shoes were they?
I think they were called. Oh man, it was. I remember they were black and had like a blue kind of lining. This is 2003, 2004. I remember being so excited because I kept calling them my kicks. And I never had kicks.
It sounded so natural, Dill.
Yeah, I know. But how's this, man? So I wore those shoes to come to Australia for the first time in 2004. February 18th for those counting at home. So, and
just in case a game of basketball broke out at the airport.
But wait for it, Steele. So I wore that, and I had my jeans, and I'm walking around Melbourne Uni with a backpack sort of thing, with whatever I needed, but also I had a bun bag the whole time.
Yes. You sound like a 90s pro wrestler.
The bun bag had like my passport, had a map of Melbourne Uni that I would pull out in case I got lost. Because you got to remember this is an era without mobile phones. So, and I was alone. I was alone in this country, so I had to somehow survive. And my mum convinced me that the bun bag was important because otherwise I might get mugged or something like that. But the bun bag is more of a target for any kind of mugger going, look at that idiot walking around with just this red alert.
But
I
now,
know.
they're back. We sell them in the shop.
Well, maybe I was ahead of my time. Maybe I
Yeah,
was
I
the
think
trendsetter.
you were just setting the trend with your
Yeah.
fat basketball boots and your bum bag.
My kicks.
You
My
changed the
kicks and my
game in
bum bag.
Melbourne.
Oh man, yeah, that was. I think the Nike shoes were one of the coolest things that I ever bought because they were so comfy. Before that, I would wear brands that were like. Do you know what Bata is? BATA?
Yeah, dude, it's like school shoes
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. So I'd only shop at Bata like all my life, and then I finally saved up for even Bata used to have like a their catchphrase every at the start of the year was "Back to school with Bata shoes." It didn't rhyme, but they really leant into it. Like they really thought they got the best marketing campaign, and so you'd always get Bata shoes at the start of the year. And then wear that out till you grew out of it, and so
But
something like Nike and
I
stuff.
kind of think Barter Shoes' slogan, not rhyming, is very on brand for Barter Shoes.
Really, is that like they're that sort of contrarian? They're like, we don't need to rhyme. We're Bata, man. I didn't realize Bata was an international brand. I thought it was very much like in the subcontinent. So I
Yeah,
haven't seen Bata in
there was like a factory in Mornington of them.
really.
Yeah, like when I was like young, like our high school was on the like at the end of the street was the Barter. I don't know. I assumed it was. Maybe it wasn't a factory. It was just a warehouse, but it was a
Did you?
large building with Barter written on the side of it.
Cool. Right, right. And did they make you like if you, in Australia or at least Melbourne? Is it like if you go private, it means you have a uniform, and if it's public, it's not uniform? Is that how it works?
No, most high schools have a uniform.
Okay.
From my memory, like primary schools didn't. If you went to a public primary
Right.
school, it was casual, which made
Right.
them so much cooler. I think all high schools, I just think that maybe they've just got different levels of, you just wear grey. Just wear something
Yeah,
grey.
yeah, yeah, I suppose, yeah. Because what happened was that we tended to not like that because the income inequality within one classroom was huge. Like you'd literally have this is in the big public school I went to. You'd have dudes who are like very quite so poor that they didn't even have their own TV, and then you'd have guys who are like the son of the guy who owns a trucking company. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like
So those
you know,
guys
like
in school, they were missing all the shows that they were appearing on.
yeah, exactly,
Wow.
exactly.
It's
So
horrific.
that made them aspire to become a comedian in a different country to buy their own TV to watch themselves. But yeah, it was that thing where there was so much income inequality within the classroom in a classroom that they tried to make everything as neutral as possible. So you had to wear a particular like if your black shoes had even a hint of labels or something like that, you weren't allowed to bring that in. Like so they made it very kind of bland. So that's why I guess a lot of my fashion was never really, it didn't become a priority because it was just not, you couldn't, no one thought you were cool if, because you just couldn't bring that in. The only way you could be cool is, I don't know, if you played sports.
Sports are cool.
Sports can be cool, but yeah, no, but the nerds have won, right? Still, look at the movie industry. They finally, nerds have taken over the world.
Nerds are always in charge though. You just don't know, like they just nerd
Yes.
about other things.
Right. Yeah, they just even made the jocks think that they were in charge while they were in school.
Hey, so when you got to Melbourne, right? What was the spot or the thing you picked up about how Melbourne worked that you were just like, oh, I wish I knew this earlier?
That basketball shoes weren't something that every guy wore. That was one thing. Do you remember shot effect shirts? Shirts that were really shiny.
What? Shark
Yeah,
effect?
like shot effect. We used to call them shot effect.
No.
I don't know because that's a Sri Lankan thing, but it's like this sort of shiny, sort of really. I can't explain it. In my head, I was told that was a cool look, so I had a whole bunch of shirts that were shiny.
What, sort of like shiny tie-dye?
Well, no, not. Is it tie dye? Oh man, I'm trying to. You know what? Let me try and Google. uh, the shot effect. I'm sure there must be a different word then. Shot effect shirt. Let me try and see if I can find it.
I'm not seeing nothing. It's all just about.
No. So must be a Sri Lankan phrase. There's got to be, but I'll figure out a different. But it's basically like a shiny shirt, but it's not like shiny as in. It's like a hint of shiny.
Oh, like a soccer jersey sort of thing?
No. But like a shirt. Imagine. Oh, I found one. Like a satin. I believe that.
Oh no.
So
like a
button-up
shirt.
Button-up shirt. Yeah. Button-up shirt, long sleeve, with like a sort of a satiny vibe to it. So I got told that was really cool.
God, you sound like a bad wedding.
Oh man, like Steele, you don't understand the amount of insecurities I have about my fashion sense. Please, I'm trying to open up here.
Hey man, I sent you a code to get some clothes. All right, so
that's true. You did. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to use it. I'm going to send you a photo on your Twitter now. See if you can pick up. The one on the left is almost identical to the type of shirt I used to have. I'll just send you.
Alrighty. Oh, dude. It looks like these shirts, they look like they have a little pocket to put like drugs to put in people's drinks or something.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Come on.
They're not on the level. I wouldn't.
They're not, but also, how's this though? Because I was a very fat kid as well. It didn't really go well for me either, because it would my man boobs and stuff would be so contoured and shiny that it didn't.
I imagine they might encourage the sweat glands a little bit.
Oh, literally about to say that. So then the sweat happens, and then you see these patches fall right under the man boobs, right underneath. Like it almost looked like a smiley face with the eyes of a smiley face. Oh man! Let's put it this way: I moved to Australia when I was 19. I didn't lose my virginity till I was 22. So that gives you an idea of how much my fashion sense was struggling.
This shirt isn't working.
And I had multiples of them. In fact, became really, really close mates with a bunch of people, about 8 of us, who in fact, even a month ago, we had a couple got married, and everyone in the bridal party was all that group of 8 from that first week. We became mates. It was so cool, right? But for my first birthday, after they got to know me, they just bought me a bunch of clothes. Going, please wear these because they look better than what you'd usually have. So it became this fucking running joke about how bad my fashion sense was.
Wow, okay. Your birthday became a fashion intervention.
It was. That's a perfect way to put it. A fashion intervention. That's what it was like. It was like Queer Eye for the Sri Lankan guy. So I think I remember they bought me a nice little T-shirt with it was like a polo shirt with a built-in kind of white shirt underneath. It wasn't actually a white shirt, but it kind of looked like, I forget what it's called. Wait, it's a fake out almost, And so I looked a little bit preppy, I suppose. And then I got a girlfriend in 2006, and her brother and her took me shopping for some clothes. But until then, I really definitely didn't have a sense of fashion at all. And now the good thing of being in the industry that we're in, Steele, is I actually now have a stylist. So I just get him to figure out if I've got a gig coming up that I want to dress nice for. I hit him up and say, hey, help me. I don't know what I'm doing.
Listen, the answer's always just wear the Shaw hoodie, okay?
Oh, okay. Sorry. All right. From now onwards. All right.
Yeah, like Logies, like when you're in the jungle, when you're in the forest, when you're at the beach.
Right. Any occasion, the Shaw hoodie.
Yeah. Come on, dude. Get it out there.
I'm learning.
Get it out there. That was it. That's the first episode.
Oh, awesome. Thank you for making me go down memory lane and tap into some deep insecurities.
Man, we've got
about satin shirts and basketball shoes. So imagine that satin shirt and the shoes would be the basketball shoes. That was what I was wearing.
Wow. It's like bottom half Jordan, top half Night at the Roxbury.
Mate, I've got to. That's it. Perfect. Round of applause. Night at the Roxbury is a perfect example. I'm gonna try. I want to see if I can actually dig deep and find you some photos from first year uni, which will give you a better indication of. I think you've got the picture. Though. I think your listeners would get the picture of what I was.
Yeah, I feel like I should get some made up for the shop. And
you don't want your business to go well then? Okay,
well,
fair enough.
well, you were just on it with the bum bags, so I now look to you for inspiration.
Maybe down the track it'll be this thing that people start wearing satin shirts with basketball shoes. Oh God, I'm actually kind of cringing just remembering that. Because the saddest part still is I thought it was cool. I thought I looked good. I think at one point I was thinking I should maybe rock a beret as well. I think there was a beret. I swear, I'm pretty sure there was a beret phase. I know at least I can promise you this. I definitely bought a beret. Whether I actually took it out to the nightclubs and stuff, I don't know if I did that. But I definitely bought a beret.
A beret sounds like you started comedy in the late 80s.
Yeah. Sam Kinison, Dilruk Jayasinha, it's the same vibe.
They couldn't handle his political nappy gear. Jeez.
Yeah.
Under no circumstances.
Oh, man.
Hey, Dill, let the good people of the internet know where they can track you down on social media and your podcast as well.
Yeah, so I social media mainly. I'm on Instagram at Dilruk J, but I'm also on Twitter at Dilruk J and Facebook as well. But I have my own podcast called Fit Bet, which is with our good friend Ben Lomas, Steele. Ben and I were, heavy boys, 125 kilos each, and we had a bet to see which of us can get under 100 kilos, and the winner gets $1,000. And so that was the start of the podcast. Since then, the bet has been done and dusted, and we have some wonderful guests talking about their own issues with food, booze, mental health, and it's found its lovely little audience that's fairly, very, what's the word? Engaging, because I think a lot of people find it's a small podcast. Obviously, we're still building, but the people that do listen are really like. Will message every day saying, "Oh my God, I lost another 3 kilos thanks to the podcast." I'm like, cool. Can't believe me and Ben, who were like really, really big boys, are now inspiring people to lose weight. So it's a nice feeling. But there's also a lot of swearing and a lot of filth. So if you're if you're expecting a feel-good podcast about weight loss, it is that, but it's also a lot of us being really inappropriate and crass.
And it's hard to do that in stand-up because they put out the most delicious snacks at night.
Oh my God! But the booze, man, the booze is that thing that always undoes every stand-up, because you finish, you have a few beers, and then you're just walking home, and what do you have? KFC chips. So it comes full circle.
Oh man, gotta cook the chips. I wish I could get some now. I could get some now.
Maybe actually I might get one and just send you, because just to rub it in. But you guys have Popeyes and you guys have In-N-Out Burger, so it's not the worst.
Oh, I'm back. Like whenever I'm back in town, I've always got like a list of like fish and chips.
Yeah.
Can't.
There's no fish and chips like options in LA?
Not like with the proper chips and the proper fish.
The flake.
They don't have potato cakes. They don't have dim sims, but.
What is this? Yeah, that's not right.
Fish and chips. I can't say enough about my appreciation of their existence.
What about sweet treats? Is there any particular sweet one that you missed?
Milo.
Oh, how funny. Can you take a tin?
Oh, dude, I take many tins.
Right, there you go.
From last time, I've only been back for like not even long. And I got 2 of those giant Milo tins, like the big ones that have got like the yellow.
You go on school camp with?
Yeah, but then they've got the yellow band around the top to say that you've got a certain amount for free as well. 2 of those, and they did not last there. I was like, oh yeah, today should be a Milo day, I think.
Right.
It's so.
Have you introduced your son to the Milo yet?
No, he hasn't had anything with like sugar or anything like that yet.
Good. Save him. It's too late for us. Save him.
I'm enjoying my Milo. Go on without me.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, thanks so much for having me, man.
It was
so fun to chat to you.
Yeah, it was super good to catch up, and make sure you you go down and get that stuff, or use
I will. I can't wait
and
to
send
check
us
it
some pics of like
Of course.
higher grade than these. I would also like some silk shirt pics as well.
Okay. I'll try and dig up some. It might have sweat patches though. If you're happy with exposing yourself to that,
Dude, it's part of the game. It's
all right.
you know,
All right. Let me look it up for you. It'll
Yeah.
be my honor. All right, mate.
all right. I'll talk to you later, Phil. Phil, Jesus
Phil.
Christ!
Oh my god.
I just did that as like a little passive aggressive, just
Just in case my celebrity thing has gone to my head.
yeah. He's like, has Steele
Phil
thought my name was Phil the whole time? Phil Rook.
All right, buddy.
All
Bye.
right. I'll talk to you later.
Take care, mate.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed our very first episode with my buddy Dilruk Jayasinha. This is the first episode and we have got a vast spectrum of guests to come. Next week on the show, we have got a in-depth chat with skateboarding legend Danny Way, which I'm very excited to share with you guys. So stay tuned for that. And you can do that by, if you're on YouTube, hitting the subscribe and the little alarm bell button. Give us a thumbs up while you're doing that. If you are listening on audio podcast, make sure you subscribed via iTunes or whatever podcast app you are using. If you're on iTunes, give us a sweet 5-star review to let other people know we're doing good stuff. You can follow the store where we will also be posting some visually enhanced clips from all our episodes at The Shore Store on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Steele Saunders, and you can listen to my other two podcasts, I Love Green Guide Letters and the Star Wars comedy podcast, Steele Wars, anywhere podcasts can be found. Thanks so much for your support of the new show and the store. Make sure you're looking after your friends, family, and yourself in these times. And we'll see you next episode with more good stuff. Until the end of July as a podcast launching special, you can use code DILRUK, DILRUK, to get half price off your second item in any order. Buy one item, get the second half off. Also includes free shipping Australia-wide on orders over $100. So check out the shop at theshorestore.com. Follow us on social media at The Shore Store. And don't forget to check out with code DILRUK.